Weka kwa message yangu ndio itakuwa easy.
Okay. Hello. There you go. Hello and good morning and good evening. This is Frank, and this is Frankly Speaking program coming to you live from studio here. It's been a blessing. It's been a blessing to be here. It's been a blessing to share with you, many of you, every Saturday coming up live with programs. Today or this week is a special one. We're going to share about mental illness, and we want to share to the many of you out there. I have a special guest with me in the studio here, but in a special way I want to invite everybody, wherever you are, please welcome. Share this video with your friends, share with anybody that you know. Our goal is to make sure as many as they can be blessed through a program we have today. Meanwhile, I'm going to invite you for a quick song, and then we will start as we prepare to start this program.
Je, unajua kinachotendeka wakati umelala? Je, unaufahamu jinsi Mungu kaweka usingizi? Tunalala pasipo kujua na kuamka ni miujiza. Lakini mara ngapi tumeamka bila hata shukrani kwa Mungu? Tunadhani kwamba kuamka kwetu ni kawaida. Kama sio mkono wa Bwana, maadui wangetumeza hai. Nimfananishe huyu Mungu na nani? Hakuna kamwe. Kama sio mkono wa Bwana juu yetu, maadui wangetumaliza kweli. Hasira zao zilipopanda juu yetu, lugha hazitoshi kueleza upendo wa Bwana. Kina cha pendo lake chazidi kina cha bahari. Adui akituzingira, Mungu ngome kwetu. Msaada wetu uko kwa Bwana aliyezifanya mbingu na nchi, na vyote vilivyomo ni mali yake Mungu. Kumbuka wale wanne wenye ukoma kwenye lango la mji Samaria. Mkono wa Bwana ulikuwa juu yao, wakawa wajasiri, wakaondoka, wakaenda kwa Washami watafute chakula ili wasije wakafa. Washami walisikia kwamba ni jeshi kubwa linakuja kupigana nao, wakakimbia ili wajiponye nafsi. Kumbe ni wale wanne wenye ukoma. Kama sio mkono wa Bwana juu yetu, maadui wangetumaliza kweli, hasira zao zilipopanda juu yetu, hazitoshi kueleza upendo wa Bwana kwetu. Cha pendo lake chazidi kina cha bahari, adui akituzingira, Mungu ngome kwetu. Mkono wa Bwana Mungu ukiwa juu yetu, sisi tutakwea milima mirefu. Kwa uwezo wa Mungu yeye tuweza yote, kwake atutiaye nguvu, mikononi mwake tuko salama. Twaweza yote, kwake atutiaye nguvu, mikononi mwake tuko salama milele. Masio mkono wa Bwana yetu, maadui wangetumaliza kweli, hasira zao zilipopanda juu yetu, hazitoshi kueleza upendo wa Bwana. Cha pendo lake chazidi kina cha bahari, adui akituzingira, Mungu ngome kwetu. Mkono wa Bwana juu yetu, adui wangetumaliza kweli, hasira zao zilipopanda juu yetu, hazitoshi kueleza upendo wa Bwana kwetu. Cha pendo lake chazidi kina cha bahari, adui akituzingira, Mungu ngome kwetu.
Amen and amen. I want to thank God for the privilege of coming live. I had to share the whole of this song because it explains a lot. Again, welcome viewers. This is Frankly speaking. I have a privilege of inviting and welcoming Dottie, the Queen. Dottie, welcome to Frankly speaking. The reason why we have this program is because of people like you, and it's a privilege and my utmost privilege when you agreed to come and share with us this evening.
Thank you.
I want to give you a few minutes for an opening remarks before we start the program. But I want to let everybody know that you can share, you can come on the video and share with us the ideas you have. You can ask questions. If you are watching on Facebook, we can still get your questions right here. I'm watching my Facebook. If you're watching on YouTube, right away we'll get your questions come here, so we're able to answer your questions live right here. So Dottie, welcome.
Thank you so much, Frank. Let me take this opportunity to introduce myself.
Yeah, please do.
So, people know me as Dottie, but jina langu kamili ni Dorcas Monari, and I'm a proud mother of one son. He is 4 years old. His name is Darrell Tenege. And I'm so excited to be here to talk about mental health awareness. So thank you, Frank, for having me.
I want to start with, I saw your Facebook page when you introduced it today. There's something that you say there about yourself, and we're going to get deeper into it. But you have quite a journey, and that is why we want to share this to the people, because many are going through the same journey, and many people wonder, am I alone on this? And this program is to say, no, you're not alone. There are many of you, and by grace of God, you are holding on and keeping on going. I wanted to bring that up. Let me see if I'm able to do that real quick. So again, you can follow Dottie Her Facebook handle is Dottie the Queen. Um, so this is what she says. And I want you to comment after that real quick, and then you can get to this program today.
Okay.
In 2017, this is part of the major milestones that she shares today. That in 2017, March 13th, she lost her friend and a sister through suicide. In 2018, October 24th, her son was diagnosed with medulloblastoma, a common brain cancer in kids. And this year, July 3rd, her son was diagnosed with a spinal tap. She was done spinal tap and showed that the treatment wasn't working, so the doctor stopped the chemotherapy. In October 8th this year, her mentor and grandfather underwent a major surgery, still in ICU. Now, how do you make through this and you're this strong?
It's tough, man. So, what gives me strength, I can say, is God, number one. And I'm so glad that my parents taught me about God. And killer challenges me face, I've never said that there's no God.
Okay.
I've always believed there's a God. And I've always believed that everything that I go through, there's a reason. So, kupoteza friend yangu in 2017, that was a friend who was so close. I've once, back in 2011, they hosted me when I was new in America. And pia mimi, that time I was facing some challenges because of moving from Kenya to here. And that family was so welcoming. And having my friend Sherry going through the same thing as me, it helped me feel that I'm not alone. So it made me face each and every day with courage, being strong, that at least there's that hope somewhere that tomorrow it's going to be a better day. And through 2011 to 2017, I can't say I was in constant communication with my late friend Sherry, but at least tulikuwa tunagongana hapa pale in events. I was usually going visiting their home. Tunapika, tunakula, we have fun. So kupata hiyo news, it was on a Saturday night, kuamkia Sunday. So her cousin alinitext akiniambia Sherry, she's no more. And that really broke me, you know, because a few days before she took her life, I had gone to her house, tulikuwa tumechat, and she really opened her heart, akaniambia the way she feels. Number one, people don't care about her. She has always tried her best kufanya the right thing, I can say. Unaona vile, how can I put this? You know, you have friends, yes.
Yes, true.
But when you're mentally healed, you feel like those friends don't care about you. So that was the position she was in. Hata kama nilikuwa hapo kwa bedside yake with my son, she told me that she feels nobody cares. Be it parents, be it friends, be it relatives, you know. And I tried to explain to her that's not the case. Kwanza mimi nilianza na kujitetea that I had gone silent for some months because of my baby. And she understood that, but I could see the emptiness. And so after leaving her room that day, I was asking myself, what can I do to help my sister, you know? Like to help her not to feel she's alone. to help her not to feel that she feels to stop feeling empty.
Yeah, that loneliness.
Yeah, the loneliness. And na pia nikaji blame for me going silent without checking up on her every now and then. And so vitu zenye zilianza kukua alarming on her case. She started posting some sensitive stuff on Facebook. So she started recalling how one day she had broken her arm, and then something happened, akakuwa arrested. No, sorry, not being arrested. Ile kuchukuliwa hospitali when your condition becomes worse.
Yeah. Emergency room.
Yeah, so they called police and then the ambulance washika. So askari wenye wali respond to her case, they didn't handle her with care.
True.
So wakamuumiza the hand that was broken. So means that was a post alishare Facebook. And then pia akashare, she really shared a lot of sensitive things zenye zilikuwa zinaniambia mimi as a friend that my sister, she's not doing okay.
True.
And that's why I tried to reach out, but I was too late.
You know, I remember, for those listeners, Sherry was one young. When I came here, we were in the same youth group. I remember, and she loved God. She served God. She was really good in church. I knew her family. We knew each other, and most of us knew her. I knew the family, and for me too, during her dying is what really brought this whole topic to me about mental illness, and how we really don't understand it, kind of how we don't, as you said, they feel lonely, they feel misunderstood, they feel nobody really cares, nobody's there for them.
Yeah.
And she tried to reach out many times. I remember sometimes I said, you know, I'll need to go visit her, but I never meant to do that. And what is alarming right now is that there are so many people like her, that's why I think you have that passion. Whenever I see you do a lot of Facebook live videos, and I see that passion in you, trying to share and trying to reach out. Was that the wake up call for you to say what an nitoke man nisaidie to somebody else saying?
Yeah, kwa sababu unaona her death took me by surprise. I didn't know that was her plan, because even after chatting with her kwa room yake that night, I told her that we need to link up and see how we're gonna create awareness, maybe to educate people about the illness, ndio wache kustigmatize this mental illnesses, because tumesikia mara ngapi wase wakita watu wazimu, you know. Me as an individual was called mtoto wa Monari amekuwa wazimu, mtoto wa Monari can't be helped, you know. So I got all those labels, and so losing her, alafu kitu yenye iliniuma most is the friends didn't come through, you know. We have those enough circle friends that we all expect when we are in our low moments, ama in our difficulty moments, they will come through. But for Sherry, they didn't. And for us, organizing her funeral and not seeing the friends who are so close to her, it was hurtful to me and to the cousin. And it was really painful to the parents, you know. Because the people who came through for her funeral, like 100%, was the adults. And as we all know, the dad is a well-known in the community.
Yeah, true.
So that identity ya babake is what brought all those people that time to give her a good send-off. Yeah.
Now, what is the risk group if we want to talk now about mental illness? Who's really concerned here? I want to just, before you answer the question, I have so many people that are online. I want to appreciate your presence. I see Amanda Banner says, thank you, Dottie, the queen. If you're somewhere, you want to comment, you want to ask a question, you want to say something, just send it live. We will see it right here on the screen. Thank you, Amanda, for that. So who's the risk group?
You know, something about mental illness is that there's no bracket, because it affects from 0 to whatever lifespan a human being is supposed to live. So I can say 0 to 100.
So everybody is at risk of going
Yeah.
through this. What are
Yeah.
the signs? What can you look at and know? How did you know?
For me or for my friend?
For yourself, and how can somebody else know that they are starting to get into this
Oh,
area?
okay. So kuna different types, of which I think kila type ya hiyo mental illness, there are different signs.
Okay.
But I can say the major ones is when you lose interest kwa vitu zenye you like doing. That's number one. Another thing is when you are unable to get out of bed. You know, simple stuff like just waking up, unapiga shower. For other people, it's simple. But for those people who are mentally ill, it's not simple because they don't have that motivation of kutoka bed, going to work, and running errands. So that's another thing. And another thing is drugs, alcohol, you know, abusing those drugs. And what is abuse? Abuse is when you can't do without.
Okay.
So you can do without street drugs, you can do without alcohol, stuff like that.
Kind of you addicted into it.
Yeah, so ukianza kugonjeka, for example, people who have suffered trauma. So, you know, if they don't get help, how to walk through that, whatever has happened, they will look for something to drown the pain. For cases like rape, cases like domestic violence, cases like heartbreaks, you know, kila trauma is different, kila case is different.
It's different.
Yeah. So, abuse alcohol is to feel that emptiness in you. And that's how mtu anaenda up akiwa addict.
Okay.
Yeah.
And so are you able to know, or you just realize you're deep and deep into it?
Drugs
Yeah, no, into the mental.
Mental illness.
Yeah, you know, by the time you realize that you have because I think mental illness is more whereby first the person who's suffering doesn't know, and then the people won't know and they won't understand this person, and tunaweza kushangaa ni aje na behave hivi, ni aje ako hivi, we don't understand them, and then they start withdrawing back from people. But the person who's mentally sick, let's say somebody is in his house, doesn't feel like getting out, how do you know that you're getting into this area?
So I can give my example. I can't tell, but my behaviors will tell. So you as my friend, you'll be like, Dottie acting this way, she's not okay. You see? So I will give an example. There's a viral video that has been going on of this guy ako kwa highway, amestopisha his vehicle. He's outside his vehicle. He has alcohol in his hand, akidance. I think a lot of people have seen that video.
Yeah, I think I've seen it.
Yeah. So that individual, there's something he's struggling with. It's either kuna kitu imechange in his life. You see? So for the person filming, ama the passerby, ama si wenye tunashare on social media, we think it's funny. But in the real sense, that person is suffering. No. So at that point in his life, he wants to die, but he doesn't know how to do it, but he doesn't want to live and see tomorrow. No. Because hapo akisoma kwa hiyo highway, nothing makes sense to him. And he's so high in whatever is high on that he can't sema buda ile sema ikitoka huko it can finish me, you see. And we have a Kenyan who was killed in Texas kwa highway, remember that story?
Yeah.
So these individuals, they can't help themselves unless first responders to reach on site to get them from the way before they are killed. Unaona? So kama huyo ni beshte yako unasema kia Mungu sile, that's a car of my friend because you have seen the number plate. Frank, you stopping and dragging your friend into the car and driving him to the hospital, you have saved a life.
True.
Yeah.
So it's at what point should we just, when we realize these things, at what point should we seek the help, as you said? Do we wait that far, or there's some things that you'll see and say, you need to go in, you need to be checked?
I will give an example. For me, mimi napenda kujitumia because I don't want somebody to feel offended.
Yeah, true.
So on the post you read, I said this year in July, my son alifanywa MRI, akafanywa spinal tap. So they discovered that the cancer cells in his body, they are multiplying. So which makes the doctor finalize kwamba the chemo or the drugs my son was using, they are not working. So when those results came out and the doctor gave me that information, so I didn't know how to receive it as a parent. Because number one, can you click in my mind is that my son is going to die. And actually the doctor told me once we stop the treatment, it's going to take 2 months and my son will be no more. You see? So I started questioning, like, so no other alternative? The alternative that she was giving me is that we operate on my son. I think in my post my picture, you have seen a mark on up here. To start different drugs that they're not guaranteed that is it a work. But during that moment, nikipatio results, I felt into depression. And actually nothing made sense to me if my son couldn't live to see the next day. Unaona? And when I received this message, I was by myself. And I was so much confused. Hata nikasema, if I pick a phone and call my friend, I don't know how to explain myself. I don't know how to explain the results to my friend or family. So right there after that call, I fell into a deeper depression, of which friends when you look around me trying to explain myself, I was judged. So I was getting comments like, I'm giving up on my son. I was getting comments like, Dottie has always been crazy. So it's inaonekana kama ameanza kugonjeka tena. Unaona? And most people did not believe that those were the results. So they thought tu ni mimi going crazy, ni cheesy and stuff like that.
What you're saying is really important, that that somebody misunderstanding you all through after anything like this is a big thing,
Yeah.
You've heard from the doctor that your son he may happen.
Yeah.
As you said, una realize unakuwa like, but if people misjudge you, then you don't know who to run to.
To turn to, yeah.
And I think that's where now the great danger is. If I share my problems, then people are going to still judge me. One Mainga says, Mainga, thank you for listening, says, speaker is talking the truth. We often don't put ourselves into someone else's shoes at the moment. And I feel that's where we are, whereby people don't want to put them in your shoes.
Yeah.
You say something, they'll just straight away judge you and say, huyo ni yeye, huyo ni Dottie.
Yeah.
And don't give you a chance to explain. And I've taken time to listen to most of your videos online. They are very informative. You explain
Thank
to
you.
detail. And so that's the passion that I was like, I wish people can take time and listen, because then you are able to, because we're able to share, we're able to listen.
Yeah.
Nathan Okyoga says this, has a question. How can we deal with the mental illness stigma within our community? How do you think we can deal with that?
So, after my late friend has taken her life, in the Kenyan community in Minnesota, we have lost, I think, sijui if it's one more or a couple more.
Yeah, we've got, yeah, we have.
And even after Sherry passed, during her, is it body viewing or a funeral, I can't remember, I addressed the community and told the community this, we failed her. And by that statement I meant, when she was trying to open up how she's feeling, we always judged her with what she did to her dad. You feel me? So nobody saw her as a human being. Everybody saw her as a criminal, as a killer, and all those labels we know we gave her, you know?
Yeah.
Even when she was trying to come to church, hata ilichukua sijui miaka ngapi, nobody forgave her. And the dad forgave her. The person who was the victim already forgave her. But the community, it never. Even to her last breath, nobody ever said, Sherry, I'm sorry, me as a person, I labeled you this, and maybe I'm the reason why you are suffering. For me, I'm sorry on my end. So the community can help this in ending the stigma, to stop labeling people, you know?
Sure.
Number one, we need to recognize like mental illness is an illness like any other physical illness.
True.
If we understand that, then when a person is struggling with depression, we know how to handle the person. Because tutakuwa tumeamua accept vile yako. No matter be a drunkard, a bang user, cocaine, ano watu wenye wanajaribu kujaza the empty spaces that I've said, but for us to welcome them instead of calling them names, number one, that individual will feel accepted. And then that person will slowly open up after being welcomed. And then for our community, especially my Kisii people, please, we need to reduce the gossip, you know? Because me as Dottie, if I share my story, it has been a journey for me to start sharing.
True.
And I'm not expecting everybody to be like me just with a snap of a finger. So the community need to reduce their gossip, especially to those victims who are suffering. For those victims now to start opening up.
And what you're saying is really important, that, sometimes they need somebody to talk to share to.
Sure.
And the more you share, the more you get help. But the problem is when you talk about them, when you label them, when you don't want to listen, when you are like gossiping about them, then you're putting them in a hard place where they can't hear. When somebody kills themselves, tunaanza kusema, hey, alijua. But we, as you said, we were responsible to most of this that happened.
Yes.
We could have been there. Thank you, Nathan Ukuga, for that comment. For this, people suffering from mental illness, they have to start seeking help. But we, as a community, have to be accepting. I have another comment here from Caroline Chepkosenyi. Says she's, I think, your good friend.
Yeah.
Amanda says, truth is empowering. Stay with your truth and keep your focus. Never give up hope. And I think that's the most important thing, that for you, as you said, it takes a lot of energy and a lot of time to even turn on the computer to come on live. What about the many that are suffering in their houses, in their rooms, in their beds, that they don't feel like getting up. They don't feel like even turning on social media to go. So at least the person that is doing something, encourage them, give them a hand, say something about them, and encourage them. That's what we need to do. She says, Amanda keeps saying that keep on teaching and sharing. You are helping someone. Your story is important and empowering.
Thank you.
And thank you, Amanda, for your comment. That's why we have. I have one more question here for you from Eunice. How do we go about an individual who has mental health but is not willing to accept any help? Thank you, Eunice, for the question.
Okay, so this is what I will start by saying. For my community, we need to start from somewhere to save a lot of people out here who can't come out. And the reason, for me, I will say, let me start by saying this, by the way. For me, I've gone for treatment by force, by fire. And what I mean by that is,
You didn't have an option.
so let me just say how mine happened. Vile nilikam hapa hivi, I came 2011, January, and you know the weather in Minnesota. So when I landed here, Buddha history ya kukaa in the house wasn't for me. So that affected me a lot. Staying in the house, unaambiwa sijui you have to wait for your social security number. For DOTTIE, where I come from, we don't stay in the house that long, waiting for something that ujui what the heck is a social security number. So for me, that affected me mentally. And I didn't know there's something called mental illness. So folks, there's that change in somebody's life that affects their thinking. So someone like me, I was thinking like if I could be back home, I could be at least busy with my own stuff as usual. But coming up, being put on a lockdown by force, that didn't work well for me. So this is a statement that I made that made an elder realize that I'm not okay mentally. So I was like, Mia, you better pay me, you better get me a ticket to go home, or I will sleep outside. So for me, I said sleeping outside without thinking. Outside, it's negative temperatures. So for these people who I'm telling to, for them, they took that as a suicide thought.
Statement.
Yeah. So they told me, they tricked me into going to the airport. Anyway, they were to take me somewhere. So it was at night. Kuangalia penye gari imepakiwa, it's an emergency department.
Okay.
So anyway, for a ghetto girl, you don't do that. We don't like surprises. Immediately, I asked my dad, why are we in the hospital?
In the hospital.
So my dad convinced me, in order for you to go to Kenya, you need to be checked if you're okay. Nikaingia box. So I went into that emergency department. I met the nurse, our front nurse, wenye wanakanga hapo mbele to receive a patient. So she was questioning me a lot of questions, which I didn't like. Number one, are you pregnant? So that question offended me 100%. So I was like, no. And she kept on asking a lot of questions. So I was like, I don't understand why you're asking me all this. Because I was brought here. You check me, I go back to my country. She told me to sit in a waiting room. Okay, I sat there like a stupid person. And the next people I saw was 2 police officers with a handcuff. You see?
Wow.
And so for me at that point, I was like, why am I being arrested? So they pinned me down and I was injected.
Okay.
So from there, I don't remember anything until I woke up into a ward. I was in a ward, nimechangewa manguo. So for me, henceforth, I started rebelling. I was like, the last picture I have, it's me being arrested. So kutoka hapo hivyo, after that experience, for me, I could never want to go back to a mental facility. So to answer Eunice's questions is this. The reason why a lot of people refuse to get help is because how the mental ill people are handled, be it by first responders, be it by police officers. The force they use, it makes you never in your lifetime to seek for help.
Or get
So
scared
maybe,
to seek for help.
yeah. So, and for my late friend Sherry, she was abused by the police officers. She wasn't handled with a care like a sick person could be. So reading her post, because we had a lot of mutual friends. So kama mimi ningekuwa beshte yake reading that post, and then you come and tell me, Frank, that Dottie, I think at this point you need help, professional help. I'll be like, no, because they don't handle people with care. Yeah.
So there's that, and that is true because we all don't understand. If you go to the mental units we have in Minnesota, especially in all hospitals, I've been to regions, the mental unit, eco lockdown is like a prison. You know?
Yes.
They don't know how to handle you. Nobody knows how to handle them. And I think then so willing to accept any help has to come more from the friendship that you formed. So if you're a friend to a person who's going through this, you are the better place to help them, and they're able to open more to you, and you can help them than all this. But again, finally, I think you have to talk to the person and ask them to go in, get help, and go with them. When there's somebody there that they are assured of, nani ni beshte yangu akona mimi tunaenda naye, I think it's more comfortable. You're able even to tell them, take care of her. So when people claim your friends or your friend to somebody, be close to them and follow them up. And no, mbona leo kwenda job, alicall in nini, how's she doing? This is not just a Christian thing; is a brotherly thing. Everybody needs to do that. Sarah Kindo, thank you for listening, Sarah. Sarah says your story is so powerful, Mami. Stay strong and stand strong.
Thank you.
Hanging on there, and thank you, Sarah, for comforting words. Esther says, great session, Dottie, really informative. Esther here from Nairobi. You must have known Esther Tieno. Thank you, Esther, for listening. Now, so there's major things that you've talked there that are striking to me, Dottie. One of them is that there's that rebellion that comes when somebody realizes, like you said, you became rebellious to everything. And then there's that denial. So when you're in denial and then you are now rebellious, I think then the connection, then now you become, I don't know, how can we get out of this place, because I think that's a stage that they all get to. How do we get out of here?
So actually those are two different things. Being in denial, it's when a friend comes over and tells me, Dottie, of late you've been drinking too much. I think there's something bothering you. Can you share? So kama is a friend that I trust, I will share. But if that's nyule beshte wa moshene, I will not share. And then there's being what is the other term you use?
Denial.
So that's denial nimedefine. Rebellious.
Yeah.
So mtu kama mimi nikienda mental facility, I rebel all their drugs. I don't want to take any of the drugs they give me. And for me, I have my personal reasons. And it's not that I nasema drugs, they are, let me correct myself. By drugs, I mean dawa zenye umepewa.
The medication.
Yeah, medication. So for me, I rebel the drugs because the first time I took the drugs I was given, zilini affect. So kuna zile side effects that the doctor did not discuss with me ahead of time before even me starting taking. And the injection kama ile yenye nilipewa in the beginning, I didn't consent to that,
Okay.
of which that injection affected me later in life. So mtu kama mimi, after receiving these drugs and seeing the side effects in me, I rebel them. Like hata ukiniambia saizi right now we are driving you into an emergency, I'd be like fine, let's go. Tukifika hapo hivyo, whatever the doctor says, I don't listen. Whatever the nurses says, I don't listen. Cause number one, in America, right now we are fighting this beast called racism. And the way a mental person is being handled, and now as a person of color,
Yeah.
it's different.
It's different. That's true.
So for me, nimekuwa kwa facility ya Fairview, that's U of M. Alafu nimekuwa facility ya North Memorial, and I've been in a facility in Arizona. I can't remember the name of the hospital. So all these facilities nimekuwa ndani, I can say Minnesota is doing a good job in handling their patients who are mentally ill, compared to the way I was treated in Arizona. So, and I think each hospital needs to change in something. For Fairview, it did a good job. They helped me. They helped my life. And that was the first place I went to. So for North Memorial, that's where the cops came in and gave me an injection without consent. So anytime you take me there, I will rebel.
Yeah, there's that. Yeah.
Yeah. So, and the one in Arizona, it was like a hall, and everybody's put in the same hall. Buddha, there's no way machizi wote ukiweka under the same roof you are helping. You see? So for me, I can make a joke about it because I was once of those.
Umeita machizi
Yeah.
na ni wagonjwa, sio machizi.
Buddha, these are the labels you give us.
Yeah,
So
that's
sometimes
true.
it's good to use a term that the community understands.
Understands? Yeah, that's.
So being in that facility made me realize that actually I'm not sick. I'm just here for fun. Cause kuna zile extreme. And the people who are taking care of, anyway, that place was terrible. And I wish somebody could inform that hospital to change in order to save more lives. Because if all those patients wamekuwa discharged, they will all rebel at the end of the day. Yeah.
Now, how are you handling it? How are you doing it though?
For me, my case?
Yeah.
Okay, for me, after...
Because you're not using as many medications as such, correct?
Yeah, actually, I'm not using any drug.
Okay.
And these are the reasons. After being discharged, you are told how to manage your stress. And so this is something that has helped me from 2011 to date. So after being discharged in 2011, I took the drugs I was given, because after making that statement that I will sleep outside, being a suicidal thought, I had to undergo some court hearing for me to be discharged from the hospital. So that's when I learned my stupidity of making jokes that are not supposed to be made. Alafu, so nikikuwa pale Fairview, I was attending classes that were helping me know how to handle stress, manage stress, and even how to help somebody else. So for me, I would say I've been doing a lot of self-care.
So you're saying there are classes that can help you know how to handle yourself?
Yes.
Okay. Where are they?
So each state, it handles mental health different.
Okay.
I'll speak on my own state. So in Minnesota, we have NAMI. NAMI is a huge organization in the United States of America. But for NAMI, you will get each and every help you need. You can get shelter if you don't have. You can get food if you don't have. So it's a large organization that is able to provide to any person who can't work because of their illness. So NAMI is one of them. And then there's one called Care Counseling. So this one has come about after the lockdown.
Okay.
So it's a website where you can go, you can get therapist in that website, and a lot of help that you will need for your mental health. Yeah.
So you
And
say,
they don't, it's not a must you have insurance.
oh, okay.
Yeah.
So thank you for sharing this information, because you're saying, again, is the stress that, for me, it's when you have a high amount of stress, there's
Yeah.
amount of stress that your brain can take. And
Yes.
so when you go past the stress, then you get into the depression stage.
Yeah.
And so you're saying they can teach you on how to handle this stress.
Yes.
And they can, and then you're able to know your stressors, things that stress you up, right?
Yeah.
And then you're able to avoid them, and you're able to know how to handle them. Are you able to know when you're getting into that stage of depression?
Yes.
Okay, you're able to know.
So for someone like me, ukiona the last post yenye nimepost advertising this live, so hizo incidents zenye nililist hapo, I was able to go through all those because I was trained how to handle stress. So kuna zile vitu naambiwa ikifika hii level, you need to withdraw, do some self-care, and then go back to handling that issue. Kama mimi mtoto wangu, he has been sick for 2+ years. So for all that period, Frank, there's no way I could survive without the help I got from Fairview. So whatever I went through in 2011 has really helped me through my son's journey, through the loss of my friend, through the illness of my mentor mwenye ako hospitali. So ninajua kwamba there are some things I have a control of, and there's some things I don't. So things like my son's illness, I didn't have any control to that. Things like my son, my late friend committing suicide, I didn't have control after she took her life. You see, so we all need to know which things we control and which ones we can't control. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, it's a pleasure talking to you. I know we have hit that 1 hour mark as we promised. Dagi Omosh, you know him, a good friend of ours.
Yeah.
He says, "Great courage, Mama. Big up, big up." He says,
Thank you.
I think you are big encouragement to the community. And I think, as much as you say people have labels, of which is true, they have these labels.
Yeah.
You're still out there to help somebody, and that is a big, thank you. We want to officially from me say you are really helping a lot of people. As much as we
Thank
don't
you.
understand it, you have understood it. You know how to help people, and people will label and say all these things, but you've been an encouragement. And when some of us, like me, Sid, who doesn't understand it very much, and I saw what Sherry is going and some other people going through, when you share it, it's a big blessing, and thank you for that. As I conclude, I want to thank the listeners for listening. Thank you for following. Thank you for your thumbs up. I see so many of them, and thank you for the messages and the questions that you asked. We are praying for your son. I am praying for your son, and the listeners, please remember Dottie's son in your prayers, and your mentor who's really sick right now at the hospital. Is he in the ICU?
That's Elda Nyamokeri, by the way.
Yeah, Elda Nyamokeri.
Yeah, he's in ICU.
I've seen so many messages on our WhatsApp groups that let's remember in prayer. Please, if you have needs, go on your knees, pray for these people. If you have friends that are going through mental illness, remember them, pray for them. They may be in the denial period, they may be in rebellious period.
Yeah.
Don't feel that you need to leave them alone and no, just hanging on there. They sometimes, as you say, they don't easily come for help.
Yeah.
You have to follow them up and help them.
Yeah.
Now, any closing remarks you have, Dottie?
Yeah. So I could like to advise those who are watching or those who are listening, to be easy on those people who are facing the hard times in their lives, especially this time when tumetoka lockdown. A lot of people don't have jobs. A lot of people lost their jobs, and a lot of people they have never seen something like this. Kila mtu, it was the first time. So there are those people who didn't take the lockdown like it's an easy thing. It was challenging to each and every individual.
Yeah, losing jobs and
Yes.
losing, staying at home,
No
not able
food.
to pay your, no food
Yeah.
and stuff.
So instead of criticizing each other on how well somebody is not doing or another person is doing, let's help where we can. If you have food, share. If you have money, share. At least mtu apate food, clothing and all that. It's a cold season. For at least somebody to buy warm clothes. It's not good to laugh at somebody's problem, because the next time it's gonna be in your own household. And there's a lot of help out here for those who are struggling with mental illness, and they are free. And you can reach these people. You can reach a therapist through a text message, through a phone call, through one-on-one. So all these resources are out here. If they don't know, it's good to ask. And for the family members who have people who are experiencing depression and all that, it's good to ask on how to help your relative or your friend. Because there's classes that you can take as a parent that will teach you on how to handle your child, so that to prevent suicide cases out here. Yeah, and if anybody doesn't know where to go, they can reach me out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And how do they reach you?
So you can message me on Facebook.
Facebook. Dottie the Queen is there.
Yeah.
Again, thank you, Dottie. The month of December, we want to spend it talking about more deeply into this. Next coming up, I have Sarah Kindle, real quick, to talk about mental illness, especially in the young people. But I wanted to share with you that in the month of December, I hope you will be free to come up again and continue sharing your experience. I know you have a lot, and we couldn't cover in an hour. We have covered, I think, like 5%. Most of your videos go into depth of what you're going through and what you're sharing. So please, people, find Dottie and look at her videos, and if they can help you, if you're able to share with a friend going through the same thing, please share. Otherwise, let the community be up. Let's talk about it. Let's share, and let's help each other through this. Thank you so much.
Yeah, thank you for having me.
You're welcome. May God bless you.
You too, brother.
All right. So coming up in the next few minutes, we have to take this. This was a special stream for Dottie. We'll bring up another stream for Sarah Kindle, and we'll share more about this. Thank you so much. May God bless you. Bye.
Okay, bye.